So there's around 30,000 DUI arrests in Florida every year. What's the biggest mistake people make in the first 24 hours after a DUI?
The first 24 hours it's kind of not writing everything down that happened, because that's when your memory is going to be freshest, especially if you're coming off a DUI where maybe you were intoxicated and you don't have that like, it's going to be fuzzy 6 months down the line or 10 months down the line when you're going to trial, like really what did happen or what do you specifically remember. I always tell people to write down everything that they can so that they can remember. Also another issue is like getting to work on an action plan. So Florida requires you to do something about your license within 10 days or you lose a whole bunch of rights. Because when you blow over or refuse a breath test, you lose your license. So yes, you have 10 days to do it, but if you're not thinking about it the next day within 24 hours, what are you going to do? Because if you're going to go then look to hire lawyers and then you're scheduling that out 2 or 3 days and then you're making decisions, you're not thinking about that 10th day when you've blown your rights. So those are kinds of the things that happen right away that you need to think about, what should you be doing there?
So I see in here and in our notes here too that you also do some personal injury, and most attorneys don't do both. That's kind of a different kind of mix. Is how do you handle that, and what percentage of your cases are personal injury versus criminal cases?
So, we're about 3/4 to 2/3 criminal, about quarter to 1/3. It just depends with personal injury. And really what happened was, go back to what we already talked about when I first went to that firm right out of law school. One of the guys that I had been working with during law school, in the time that I was finishing up school, I wasn't working for him. I was doing my clinic at the public defender's office. So I had about 6 months where I wasn't working with them. So what happened was, when I started work, when I took the job with them and working the first day, I got handed a stack of files that goes, by the way, we do personal injury now, go learn it. We were a criminal firm. Well, I didn't have a choice, so I learned it. I learned how to do it. The one thing I think is where these things interact, are we're representing individuals at a spot of their lowest moment. If someone's in an accident and is severely injured, even if they're minor, the injury's not that big, but it's still an injury. It affects their day, it affects their job, it affects their life at home. It physically hurts. When someone gets arrested, it affects their job, it affects their family. To a certain degree, it might physically hurt if you're mentally, anguishing over the situation. So I think there's a lot of tie-in of how to deal with the person individually. It's not like, and again, all respect to the lawyers that work in every different field, but when someone is defending a major company like Apple or something like this, no one's really upset at the end of the day if Apple gets affected a little bit. But when you get to the personal issue of how it affects their life, as you get to know them over time, it matters. And again, I just like helping people. So I do think that there's a connection. I think there's also a connection with, the Trial Lawyers Association, for us, the Florida Justice Association, the people that are involved in this organization, they're attorneys that like to go to trial. They like to be in the courtroom and work cases up. Similarly, as criminal defense attorneys, like, love going to court. We love finding a unique issue and then just working those cases up, going to trial or getting the case dismissed. So there's a lot of that, high action, fast paced courtroom stuff